Hi, Matt and Tanya. Hope you all are having a good evening.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Michael.
How are y'all?
We have like about 2 minutes, everybody. Thank you for being on here. And usually people come in a little later, though. Uh, so I don't see Mr. Walia. Michael, are you speaking for him? Is he coming on? He just not on yet? Do we have to send him another link
He,
or
he
what's happening?
he's coming on. Why don't I try to give him a call?
Okay. Okay, I see that we've got about 1 more minute before we get started. I may wait a couple to see how people get on and to wait to Mr. Wallier get on until he comes on.
Hey, Miss Lee,
Yes.
can somebody send Bill another link? He said he's having a hard time getting on.
Okay, Ms. Rosie, would you do that, please?
Will do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought something was up since he wasn't on yet.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think I see Mr. Wallier on here yet, and it is about 2 minutes after, but we only have about 7 people on here. So if you will just bear
Okay.
with us, I'm going to wait a couple more minutes, maybe almost closer to 5 after till we get more people on here. Okay, to kill a little time, since it's about 4 after now, I do want to say, I know you all have been watching the weather and everything, and any of you that have family or friends in Florida, I surely hope that they are all right. Florida is going through kind of a tough time over there right now. So we're all praying for them and keeping them in our thoughts. I just heard not too long ago that the owner of this property that is trying to be redeveloped, rezoned, was having trouble getting on. So Rosie had to, Ms. Roseanne is sending him a, oh, I'm so sorry, Tanya. I'm so sorry. One of our constituents that's on the call said that she had lost some family and friends in that. It's a mess over there. I have a sister that has a small place over there, and with her ring, she was showing pictures, and she has a road that goes out in front of where her place is before you come up on the gravel to actually go to her place. And the picture on the ring, it would have looked like that was a whole canal. You couldn't even see the road. It hadn't started to come up to her house, but you couldn't even see the road. All you saw was water. So it is terrible. Prayers go out to any of you. I'm glad that they're out now, Tanya, and I hope that those are safe, and the ones that aren't or we're having some problems, we have them in our thoughts and in our prayers.
Hey, Antoinette, do you want me to just go ahead and begin, or do you want to see if anybody else hops on?
Can you do that?
Sure.
Okay, so let me start it then. This is dealing with the thank you. Okay, thank you. Yeah, we will. This is dealing with the property at 12610 Old Hickory, Mr. Wallier, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He has been here before us a couple of times before. This is the one, and I will tell you, I've been reading, I don't read Facebook a lot, but I know there's been a posting talking about we are rezoning to warehouse, and we're looking at something that has 400, what do you call it, places for trucks and things to come into. I'm going to say, if you're talking to anybody or you see or anybody with that information that is incorrect information, I know sometimes we hear things and we just post it on Facebook and run with it like it's true. But please let them know that that is incorrect information. And if they are, I think some of the people that were posting aren't even in District 33. But if you are in District 33 and you did not get the posting for this, please make sure that you contact Roseanne Hayes I'm going to ask either her or Matt to go ahead and put her email again in the chat room so that you all can get it. Email her, give her your address, let her know you're in District 33 and you want to get the emails, because that's how we give out a lot of information. We send the emails. That's how you got the information for this. You should have gotten emails because a lot. Oh, thank you, Matt. That was quick. There is a lot of misinformation going out there, and then there's a lot of information being twisted and turned so that it sounds negative. Again, I'm going to say to you, whenever anybody brings things to me, I'm going to bring them to you because it may be something that you have said, well, we don't want, but then it has a twist to it. And it may be something somebody wants and is willing to listen to. So I'm going to do that. That is what I'm going to do. So I just want to let you all know that, and anybody who was reading that misinformation on Facebook. And I'm sorry, I don't have time to get on Facebook all the time, so I'm not always on there answering. But I do want to let you know that this particular property has been before you before. This is the gentleman that had in the chat had talked to several people and was going to schedule a time when people could actually go out there and look at what he wanted to put up. I don't think anybody, after they got off of the meeting, I don't think they took him up on that. I could be wrong, so please excuse me if I am. I don't think anybody took him up on that. There was, I think, way back, a design for this. Maybe that's what some people were looking at. This is not the same design. He has done this on his own. And redone it, whatever, and it's like a family business. It's going to be his thing. So he has presented to us before. You have heard it before, and he's bringing it now so that you can see if there are any changes, some things that he has done to ask him questions. And this is in a warehouse area, so they're all warehouses there. But I think he has joined us now. And I want to, as I always do, I want to thank Roseanne because she's the one that gets this together. And Matt is now getting ready to put on a Superman cape because he is her second in command that is helping her with all of this. He doesn't know how much help I need sometimes. So I appreciate them. And I appreciate all of you for being on this fall afternoon. Thank you so much. I am going to turn it over to Mr. Wallier now, if he will introduce himself and Michael, and then you can talk about what it is and you can get input for folks, but just make sure that you leave plenty of time to hear the feedback from the people and any questions or anything you may have. I'll turn it over to you now, sir.
Thank you, Councilwoman Antoinette Lee and Tanya, Roseanne Hayes, and everybody else, and Matt as well. I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Bill Walia, and I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, along with my wife in 1984 to Antioch, right across the apartments behind Kroger's. That's where I started my life in Tennessee as a family life. And I've started the construction equipment business in 1986. And I have been based out of Laverne and Antioch market since then. Even to the present day, I hold an office, and I have an office, and I go to work every day in Laverne area. And in about 2005, we opened up our first office on Old Hickory Blvd, and we developed a set of properties, and we had the same opportunity over there as well, what we have over here. And we have developed it into the 3 buildings in which we have kind of uploaded the slides and that kind of shows you the type of the buildings that we have put. And with the help from Roseanne and several meetings with Miss Antoinette Lee, we had several community meetings, and I want to thank all the community members and all the input that they gave us in the previous meetings. And from these meetings, we are presenting you the updated drawings of our combined vision. As you will see, by working together, we end up with a product that encompasses all the requirements for trees, for stormwaters, sidewalks, entrances, detention ponds, traffic flow, size, and everything else. And I think we have so far to this date, and Michael Garrigan, who's an engineer, site engineer with Dell and Associates, uh, he's an engineer by nature, but I also knows he also listens with his ears open, just like I do. And we try to make a notation of everything the community has requested us. And I think you will see in the updated drawings that we show you today that we have tried to accomplish everything that the community came up with, any ideas that they came up with, all these things that I mentioned. We came up, the community and us working together, that we put it out on the product. And finally, I will say that we are not a big developer. We are not a huge private limited company. We are a family owned business. I have two daughters. Both my daughters went to school and they grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. They were born here, and we are Tennesseans here for a long time, since 1984. And this is our bread and butter. And we're a small family owned business. And with the drawings of the buildings that we put it on there on the 2 pages that you will see the tenant mix, the people that are running their everyday operations out of these buildings. And these are the people that they service the community. And there's a need for this type of buildings in this community, because you want to have the people in the community that's going to service the community. And that is our motto. And like I said, again, we're a small family owned business. We welcome everybody's input. And I'll turn it over to Michael Garrigan.
Thanks, Bill. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Michael Garrigan. I'm an engineer and a land planner with Dell and Associates. And like Bill said, this is, I guess, our third time before you guys and discussing this. And, you know, just to kind of update everybody of our background, if anybody's on here that wasn't on the prior meetings. This is a piece of property off Old Hickory Boulevard, measuring close to 10 acres. It is, east of Hobson Pike, and probably about half a mile east of Hobson Pike, just south of the old Starwood. It is in a policy under Nashville Next for district industrial. And when we first met with you guys, we had a lot of conversation about the building, the materials, wanting, brick and no vinyl, no metal building on any side of the building that would be visible. That's been addressed within the SP. But the last meeting we talked about, what could we do for the community in addition to, the development plan that we had. We discussed the walking trail along the stream, connecting from one side to the other, and that is part of the SP. It's about 1,400 feet. Running feet of a trailway, plus another 1,500 or 1,600 feet of wider public sidewalk along the road frontage. We've showing heavy landscaping. We talked about creating sort of a park feel, park benches and sitting area, picnic tables, things of that nature. We've got some of that stuff shown on our SP drawing. And like Bill said, this is a family-owned business. This isn't a out of towner popping in to throw something up and move on. This is a long range plan for him, something that more or less family legacy. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions. I will say in closing, this has been to the Planning Commission and it was approved. on the consent agenda. It was properly noticed, obviously, and there was no one in opposition at the meeting. So that's all I have.
I do want, okay, so Michael, if you will look at the chat, I think Larry just put something in there. So if you will read those off and then answer them, and anybody else who just wants to speak, go ahead and have it.
I see that. Bill, how many loading doors are you going to have on each building?
No more than 6. And the reason we have 6 of them, keep in mind that even though the loading docks may be 6, half of the time people do not use all of them because we're not in a logistic company where you have freights coming in there all times of the days and the hours. So think about this, picture this as like I'll give you an example for pro charging systems. One of the charging systems that the tenant that I have on 1551 Hile Quaker, they have 3 loading docks. And in one of the loading docks, they will probably use a trash compactor. The other one, they will use it for the other stuff. And they hardly, the loading docks are used between 9 and 12 in the morning to receive material, and from 2 to 4 in the afternoon to take the stuff away. And that's all there are, just 6 in each. And Larry, I'm trying to read your question. What did you say there?
What hours will the 18-wheelers enter or leave the premises?
For the normal business hours are between 9 to 11 in the morning, and then in the afternoon from 2 to 4.
While we're waiting a moment, or while I left out one thing that has been added to the SP as adopted by the Planning Commission, so it is law. There's a note that requires us to widen Old Hickory Boulevard from our entrance point to Murfreesboro, and to Hobson, and it further restricts any truck traffic from our site to Murfreesboro. So all truck traffic will come from Murfreesboro into the site via a newly widened section of Old Hickory Boulevard.
And also, if I may add, the loading docks that we have, they're not going to be an active loading dock like an Amazon or like a trucking freight company that's putting trucks in and out of the place every day. It doesn't work that way. Think about it as a manufacturing plant that receives their deliveries in the morning and ship it in the afternoon for a couple of hours. That's all it is. It is not a logistic place, or it is not like what is a word I'm using, like you see Everett Express on I-24, where you see rows of the trucks and the trucks coming in and out of the road. No, it's nothing as compared to like that. It's minuscule. You'll be lucky if you see 2 trucks in the morning and 2 trucks in the afternoon. Michael, did you catch that?
I'm reading it.
Yeah.
What specific measures beyond the Metro traffic and parking recommendation for planned signage? Well, I mean, there's the planned signage, and then there's Bill can put it into his deed that no access or no truck access can go to Hobson. I mean, short of standing on site waiting, looking, I'm not sure what can be done other than, community feedback. If, for instance, there is one tenant that seems to be breaking the rules, they notify, the codes department or myself or Mr. Walia, and we put an end to it. There will be signage for sure.
Yeah, but signage, this is Larry. I'm sorry. I raised my hand. Signage can easily be ignored.
True.
It would be better on the truck entrances to curb the exits so that the truckers cannot turn left. And Michael, let me just clarify. the issue is Murfreesboro Road off Old Hickory Boulevard.
Right.
It is not Hobson Pike
Correct.
off Old Hickory Boulevard. So, at the taxpayer's expense, the bridge on Old Hickory Boulevard was recently replaced. I want to say, 2 years ago, if that long. It would be a great injustice to the taxpayers of Davidson County for something to damage that bridge and for it to be at the taxpayer's expense. So we want to do everything possible to prevent any 18-wheeler truck traffic from being able to leave the proposed buildings
Mhm.
and even be able to turn left onto Old Hickory Boulevard.
Understood. And yeah, that's a great idea, actually. I call them pork chops. Public Works doesn't like to do them because people break, don't really follow them, but trucks can't. I think you know what I mean, where you're supposed to turn right only, but a vehicle can maneuver around it, but a truck
Mhm.
can't. So we can get that pork chop style curbing there at the entrance. And we can widen the entrance and make it into a nice little island, landscaped island, to prohibit any left turning movement out of the development.
I think
That's actually a great idea.
Larry, actually, I'm sorry, Billy, I see your hand raised. I
Yeah,
was just
on
add to
that,
that. That is a very good idea. That's what actually we had talked in our previous community meetings, that where the trucks will be only able to make a right turn and not on the left side.
yeah, I understand that. I'm not opposed to that. I just want to point out that you also have office employees that will use that exit. And a lot of those office employees, I suspect, will go to Laverne. So if they cannot turn left, you're funneling all of that traffic up to Hobson Pike.
Mhm.
Point
And
that out.
there can be a design done that, like I said, a passenger vehicle can maneuver around. A WB-67 18-wheeler cannot, without popping the curb with his tires, and they don't want to do that when they don't have to.
And the
Agree.
and
That
if you
sounds
look at
good.
it, Mr. Billy, coming out of your property, if there is chops like Michael Garrigan is talking about, no 18-wheeler is gonna attempt it, because he's gonna end up in a ditch on the other side of the road.
Both buildings are 4,600 and change, yes. And the height will not exceed 45 feet, yes.
Electrical chargers.
Sure. I mean, that's going to be something that I foresee working into projects much more often here in the near future. So it's absolutely something that can be, discussed and researched by Mr. Walia. And Bill, do you want to speak to the serving the community as far as just the employees that work at your other locations?
Yes, I mean, those are the employees, those are the people that live in the community and they work in the community. I think I talked to my tenants and they said that 70% of the people that come to their work at those places on Howell Quaker, they live within 15 miles of the radius of that projects, of that office. So there's going to be community jobs available, and also we will get to use this place and put it to a nice use, and from here on we will create the tax revenue and the in forms of taxes, the property taxes, the insurances, and all those revenue streams that we will also be creating for the community from here on. So there's a lot of community benefit for that as well too.
Bill, I've got one more question.
Yes, sir.
Have you got far enough along on your planning to give us an idea of what type of materials will flow through these warehouses? What will the trucks bring in and take out? And can you give us an idea of that?
So um I can just speak from experience. Um, these will be like, say, for example, if it was a building contractor, if it was storing shingles, so you will have a pallet of shingles that will be stacked on the pallet, and that's what they'll be bringing. Like for the battery manufacturing plant over there in Hal Quaker, they bring those casings and they bring electrodes. All these are just palletized items that are taken off, like maybe 2 or 3 or 4 pallets that come in for production every day, and 2 and 3 pallets leave the building every day. That kind of stuff.
I have two questions, I think. You talked about the number of buildings and the number of loading docks. I want you to tell us altogether how many loading docks. Then I want to know if there's something that you can put someplace in writing when people talk about the trucks coming in all hours of the night and everything. You had mentioned uh, two particular times, one in the morning that was going to be the work time, and one in the afternoon that's going to be the work time. Can you assure that? Do you have that down someplace so that when people talk about the trucks coming in all hours, we can say with certainty when they're supposed to, and so we won't be guessing.
Okay, so the way Michael Garrigan has laid out those buildings, and to minimize the truck traffic and just having one entrance going in and out, if you look at the drawings, we have both loading docks facing each other. So we have 6 on each, and there's a total number of 12 loading docks in both the buildings total. As far as the truck operation time, it's normal business hours that I know of my current tenants, and my current experience with them is from 7:30 in the morning till 5:30. And those are the hours. Now, the hours that you see the trucks coming in and out of the buildings all those times, now those are Amazon warehouses, logistic places that do 24 hours an hour. None of my tenants run 24-hour shifts. I mean, these guys are regular business. At the end of the day, they go back home to their families.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, I'm gonna jump in. I put a question in the chat, and I didn't see it answered, but I asked them all at once. So my first one is, you talked about just the overall operations of your business, and you kind of highlighted several times, that you don't see that amount of, impact to the operations that you're bringing. And so my question is, based off of your developing 10 acres, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So if you don't see that much, I guess, work productivity coming out of that business, what would be the need to develop all of that land?
Because you may not see the truck activity, but there are still people working in there. They're producing a product. They're receiving inventory. They're shipping orders, right? That still has to be done. The rest of the work still has to be done.
So the receiving of the inventory, how is that being delivered
Through the trucks on the pallets.
on those 2 times that you stated?
Yeah, it's all. If you look at a typical business, the most deliveries are received in the morning, and the shipments are done in the afternoon. Even in my business, when you say you ship me something, a pallet, a trucker will bring it to me in the morning between the hours of 9 and 11, and I take the delivery and they go away. And then if I have a shipment for them, they will come back and pick it up. And if I don't have an outgoing shipment for them, then there's going to be no delivery there that day or pickup that day.
Okay. And then I guess just my last follow-up questions.
Yes,
I've
sir.
heard several people kind of ask for examples, and what I continue to hear you say is your experience. Are you able to provide factual based information on exactly what you what you're going to be doing on this property? Or are you saying that your experience is what's going to take place here?
So those things are dictated by two things. Good question. Those things are dictated by two things. One is my experience, and the second is going to be dictated by the quality of the tenant that we put it in there. Obviously, we're going to be spending a lot of private money and taking loans and we're not going to be putting businesses in there that are going to run it ragged, right? So we control that by the tenant that we choose, right? That's how we control it, and that's how we're able to say with our experience. Like if you look at our third three properties, our tenant base is AT&T. Like if you have a TV service go out and you need a receiver, you know where that guy's going to go? He's going to go to the Hal Quaker, pick up a receiver, come back and fix your TV. If you need a battery charger for your car, that's where it's going to come out of the Hal Quaker. So we look for the tenant base that is either a very small or light manufacturing or distribution or assembly product. Those kind of tenants. That's what the building is going to be designed for. And when you ask, how can I say that it's experience? Yes, it's experience, but it also becomes the byproduct of the product that we put out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir.
It popped up on my screen and then it disappeared. Maybe Michael or somebody, I think Larry had kind of a long thing in the chat. And then I think Mr. Billy has another comment as well.
Yeah, just listening to you, it sounds like not all of this truck traffic is going to be 18-wheelers. Will this be a mix, or do you have an idea of what the mix might be?
No, you also have trucks, van trucks, smaller trucks. It's it all depends on how they receive shipment and how they ship out.
Mr. Larry?
Yeah. In past meetings, Metro Water, when asked if they monitor development for approved stormwater after the fact, they have admitted that they do not. That is a real concern. If they approve stormwater, then we need assurance within 12 months that the stormwater plans are actually effective. So somehow that has to be verified and certified.
So, okay. Can I address that, Michael, 1 second?
Sure.
Ever since, again, with my experience, and I'll be happy to send you the copies of the invoices and my reports. Here lately in 2019, Metro adopted a system that every property in Laverne and Davidson County has to submit an independent inspector report. And there are inspectors that go out there and they perform and check the detention pond systems that we put in the properties. I am bound by the Metro government by law to get an independent inspection. And I get a letter from the courts people pretty quick if it's not performing, if the detention pond is not performing up to the codes, and I have 30 days to fix it. And believe me, they levy heavy fines. And that goes as a part of our lease agreement with the tenant that they have to stay on top of it. And plus, remember, I am not an inactive landlord. I go to my properties every month. I make sure it's a part of their lease that they have to maintain the grass, they have to maintain the trees, and they have to maintain the stormwater detention. And I think Metro is paying a very good attention to it. I can send you the bills and copies from them for the last 2 years. On every property, we submit an yearly report and inspection from them.
That sounds great. They should have indicated that to us in the meeting that they spoke about, and for Councilmember Lee's benefit, this was related to the 6103 Mount View Road property. And they said that they do not go back and verify. But again, this is good news, but
Yep.
I would like to see this and all other commitments in writing as part of the final council bill.
The maintenance of the detention pond, sure, I don't have a problem. You can put in there.
And I
That we
think
can
all
maintain
of
the
that is,
detention
and I
pond?
think all of that is put in there with the SP as we write that up too.
Yes,
So,
that's what I mean.
yeah,
And
so,
that's the benefit of the SP.
yes, so I think Matt, I have two different Matts. The other Matt may be the one to help us with this, but I didn't completely get all of what you were asking. So Larry, so just in case, I sent something to see if John could come on. He's not able to come on right now, but if he does pop on, then you're welcome to, you or Mr. Walia to ask him whatever that was you all so that you can get uh, his word on whatever it is too. But yeah, so remember those things, Michael and Mr. Walier,
Yes,
those
yes, ma'am.
specifics for the SP.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. If I may interject one more time, Michael, you want to tell them about those detention ponds, like how they're designed and how Metro holds you responsible to take care of them, because there is a maintenance agreement that we put in our leases for that.
Yeah, with every grading permit project in Davidson County, which this certainly will be, before it's approved, a maintenance agreement is signed by the owner and recorded at the registrar's office. And it's a very detailed standard document Metro has. Then we write a report that goes with it. At the end of the day, it's about 8 pages long. And it outlines the maintenance requirements. And if those are not being adhered to on an annual basis, and inspection reports, as Bill stated, submitted every June to Metro, they will send you a notice of violation. And if you do not respond, then they will send you a fine. That's been going on for several years. So I'm kind of surprised that Metro said they don't monitor the stormwater systems. I'm not sure what that conversation or how that went, but maybe they were saying they're trying to staff up. I mean, because they haven't done the greatest job of it, I will say that. But you know, your owners like Mr. Walia are, as he just stated, clearly staying on top of it, whereas not all of them
Oh,
are.
we have to. I mean, we have to. They can come and shut us down. If the detention pond is not performing, they come and shut you down. So there's no ifs and downs on that. And we maintain all of those records on our properties.
Great to know.
Yes, sir.
And I think we can add a note to the plan for that too. That's not a problem.
And also, I was going to say that Michael is correct in saying that, and if my memory serves me right, the stormwater agreement goes on the deed of the property. So
It does.
even if I'm gone and 20 years from now or whatever, good Lord willing, whatever happens, whoever gets the property, they still have to honor that commitment. It cannot be say, okay, that's Mr. Walia made the commitment. I'm out of here. He's out of here. So it doesn't work that way.
It travels with the land.
Yes.
Good.
Sorry, I was just typing up that note. So I just added a note that says a stormwater maintenance agreement shall be recorded prior to grading permit issuance. So that's before any work can even be done on site,
Yeah.
much less completed. And then
Councilmember Lee, it's unfortunate some of the people that seem to have been the most vocal on Facebook are not here this evening. I believe that they live across Old Hickory Boulevard and Hobson Pike, where it changes. So they're actually District 32 residents, but have valid concerns. And John
Yeah.
Stern is attending a District 31 meeting at this same hour. So that's why he is not present.
I appreciate you saying that, Larry. And that's why I wanted to clear up the concept of first 200 docs and then 40 to 50 docs. I wanted to get everything clear. I think some of the people that were commenting on Facebook may be on now. So I would like to invite them, if they have questions, They weren't on there when you talked about the taking in trucks at what, 7 to 11, and then trucks would be going out. I forgot what you said, 3 to 5 or something like that. And that all of the trucks were not big wheels or whatever they call them, 18 wheelers, that some would be smaller trucks. And I forgot what you called it, so I'm going to call it a pork chop, not to get out and turn left or whatever. So those things I do not believe some of the people heard because they just jumped on. But I would like to invite some of the people that were, or anyone who was making the comments on Facebook about the specific things. If you have questions now, go ahead and ask so we can get all of that cleared up and you can get a clear picture of what we're talking about putting up.
And while we're waiting on those, I'll just summarize that the pork chop Miss Lee just spoke about is basically a raised curb that will prohibit truck turning movements heading towards Murfreesboro Road, turning left out of the site towards Murfreesboro Road. The loading docks will be limited to 6 bays per building, and those will be a part of the SP, and the stormwater areas will be maintained via a recorded maintenance agreement, annually inspected and filed with Metro Water Services, and that will be a note on the SP. So if there's anything else we haven't covered, please ask.
I know that in previous discussions, and possibly not this particular design, but other warehouse designs for this parcel or nearby parcels, a concern was trucks coming in 24/7. Mr. Walia, would you be amenable to specifying no truck traffic between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m.?
Yeah, I would be open to that idea. I don't think that the tenant mix really cares about that. Like I said, most of my businesses, again, from speaking from my experience, they work from 7:30 to 5:30, and I don't have any automotive clients that work 24-hour shifts for Nissan and stuff like that. Yeah, if you want to, I would be open to that.
I would jump in there, Mr. Wallier. I would jump in there from what you're saying, maybe, Larry, and change it to something like 7 to that time or 6 to that time instead of waiting till 10 o'clock at night.
Well, the thing is, I think 10 to 6 is a pretty good thing. If you're concerned, Larry, would your concern would be that the truck's coming in all hours of the night, or what? Which way are you leaning towards that? I'm trying to understand your question.
I'm basing this on previous discussions. I don't really, I don't live close to that,
Okay,
but I would think that,
I
you know,
yeah.
having stayed in lodging close to warehouses and having been associated with warehouses, those backup warnings all night long get to be a bit much, and that's why 10 to 6 would still allow a potential second shift.
Yeah.
And I think that might be acceptable to neighbors of that area.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. So to that, I would say, yes, I will have an open mind for that. And the other thing I was going to tell you is, again, if you look at the quality of the tenant mix that we're going to put it in there, hopefully that we have in there, you're not going to have trucks going there in and out there all night and with all those beeping noises. I'm a light sleeper myself. I know exactly what you're saying. And
And
I think I will entertain that idea from 10 to 6. Yeah, that, and still allow them the functionality of a second shift. If there was to be a tenant of that, yeah, I would be open to that idea. I'd consider that.
I mean, what your tenant mix sounds like it's going to be is light manufacturing. I
Right.
think the neighbors are envisioning this being heavy warehouse distribution.
Yes,
And they're two entirely different things.
exactly.
Um,
I think that's
and
where the disconnect is. Exactly.
and you know, you're not having what I'll refer to as cross-docking of product.
Oh,
Uh,
no, not at all. Not at all.
so, you know, I think it would help, you know, perhaps for the community to get on board with this.
Yes. Yes. I think Mr. Larry, I could not have said it better myself. I think you put it up very nicely, and that is true. I was looking for the word in my mind. Thank you for reminding me that. Cross dock, that's where you see 24/7 traffic, but not in the distribution or light manufacturing traffic. I mean, you go down on Old Hickory Boulevard after 6 o'clock and check out my properties. There's hardly a soul there.
I would still suggest, instead of you putting that in there for 10 to something, I still would suggest, from listening to what you said and the type of clients that you're going to have, I still would suggest putting it back. If you think 7 is too much, I would say 8, but I would love to see it at 7, because that's around dinner time. And so that shows the community that you are thinking about their rest and not any large trucks coming back and forth. Because if your place is going to be closed, there's no need for trucks to come in late.
Yes. Okay, if you guys work with me from 10 to 6, I will do that.
So we want to say truck traffic shall be limited to the hours of, or shall be prohibited between the hours of 6 p.m. to 10 a.m.
No, it was 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. That's what I was reading.
Yeah, did I not say? Did I? Isn't that what I said?
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I think you're
I
saying
think
where
you
it's
said
limited,
reverse.
and he is saying when it's going to happen.
Yeah, I thought we were saying the same thing. I got
Sorry
it.
about that. Reaction, right? To every reaction is equal action, right? Action.
Again, I have seen some new people join, and you may have had questions or have some comments about this. Please, now is your time to go ahead and to make those clear and to make those public. Or anybody who's spoken before, if you have anything else that you would like to say or like to share, because Mr. Wallier has been very conscientious about trying to work in what will work in the community, seeing that he's a small warehouse thing and trying to clear up any misconceptions.
And we want to be good neighbors. We want to be friendly neighbors. We're going to be there for a long time. You guys are there. We understand you live right across the street in the District 31, and I travel that road every day. And by the way, that road has turned out beautiful. I think they've turned out the left lane, the right lane. They've got a middle turn lane in there as well. Newly paved asphalt. It looks beautiful.
Thank you for saying that, but I think that's 32, but I think everybody knew what you meant. That's okay.
Yes, sorry about that. I got it crossed.
For those of us just joining and I'm part of that, can we get like a brief summary of or overview of what's already been decided or what's being discussed?
Thank you so much, Monica. Michael, would you just do that very quickly again? Because I think you wrote down some of the changes and you could include that in there. And then if there's anything, Mr. Wallier.
Sure.
Yes.
Just to summarize from the last meeting to the beginning of this meeting, the modifications that have been done is the addition of a walking trail, 1,300 linear foot walking trail along the stream in the rear of the property. Additional landscaping, park benches, and picnic areas, I believe. And then based upon our discussions tonight, we have although one other change prior to this meeting was that vehicular or truck access from Murfreesboro Pike is to be restricted only allowed from Hobson Pike. However, the comment was made that, well, if you have signs and you tell them not to do it, who's there to stop them from actually doing it? So we all discussed and decided to add what I call a pork chop, which is just a raised curb island that will eliminate the physical possibility of a truck being able to turn left out of the site and head towards Murfreesboro. We have limited the dock bays to 6 per building because there was a lot of discussions on there being 20 or several 50 bays, and there will be 6 bays maximum per building. And we added a note about maintaining the stormwater features and inspecting them annually, filing that with Metro Water Services annually. And we just added a note to prohibit truck access, ingress, egress between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. And if I missed something, somebody let me know.
Was there any restrictions that would be added from the Old Hickory Boulevard that leads to Murfreesboro Pike? Because I've been a part of trucks trying to come into that entryway as well.
There would be no trucks entering or leaving the site from Murfreesboro. They would all be from Hobson.
Okay.
And another point, I don't think you shared this, was that because of the type of business that he's putting up, we recognize that all trucks going in and out would not be the 18-wheelers. There may be some smaller trucks that just have things loaded on them.
Box
And I
trucks.
think, yeah, and I don't know, I think there was another something put in the chat.
Like city trucks.
Cat,
Like city.
did we get that?
Traffic study, yes, it requires widening of Old Hickory Boulevard from our site to Hobson Pike and restricts any truck traffic going towards Murfreesboro Pike. That was essentially the result of the traffic study. And an EPA study, that has not been done yet, no.
Thank you very much, Monica, for speaking up. Anybody else, and for that, a cat in the chat. Anybody else that has any questions or anything, please, because we still have a couple of more minutes. I want to make sure that everything is very clear on this and that we have the correct information and that it's not something, and that people aren't thinking it's something that it's not. Please, because now is the time to say what you think or ask questions so that the developer can get that and work that in or talk to you about it, whatever. Now's your time, please. Crickets? You had that look on your face, Billy. Are you good?
I am very good, Council Lady. I think it's been a very good meeting.
Thank you,
Very well,
thank you.
very well. Bill presented his case very, very well.
And Mr. Larry, you know a whole lot about all of this area, and I appreciate you bringing up that or making us think about, and I'm sorry, I don't know what it's really called, the pork chop and all of that kind of stuff. Did you have any other questions, you or Mr. White?
It's been a productive discussion, and I appreciate Mr. Walia's, being so amenable to the discussion.
I don't
And
have it.
I also want to thank all the community members, and I want you to know that this project means a lot from me and my wife, and we are going to be very good neighbors, and we're not going away anyplace. You guys are not going anyplace. Please come by and see us. And we appreciate all the community's help, input, what we achieved today with the vision that we had. And it took a lot. It took a lot. I think, Miss Lee, we started this back in December last year. And I remember our first community meeting, and she's been very vocal about it from day one. And she said, Bill, you have to come talk to the community. And she was right. And the community had so many bright ideas and good ideas that we have incorporated a lot into this project. And I think you will see, you should be all be proud, because once this project is finished, you will see what a beautiful project it's going to look like and what all you had envisioned. And maybe some of the things like Michael Garrigan has put in there, sidewalks, trails, and picnic benches, that may be the future for the upcoming businesses that were going to go in the area. This will be, you guys should be proud. This will be the first of a kind.
I am hoping, because like I said, there are places over there that are already retail. And I will tell you all that I am inclined, after listening to all of this, to going on with this. I have people who have jumped on Facebook. Oh no, she's pushing warehouses. She's pushing warehouses. But I want you all to know that this, we almost redesigned to be something that the community could be proud of. And I'm hoping some of those others that are around there will take note to this and do something good with what they have. Because when you have places that are already zoned certain things, they can already go up and put those type of things up in that. So to have somebody that's conscientious, and some of you that weren't on there before, Mr. Royer told where he lived, behind the Kroger, and his apartment and stuff, and his family and everybody. So he is from the area. He knows what the area is. He's trying to be proud of the area. And I'm going to say it sounds good to me. Now, I'm trying to still listen to what everybody's is saying. And people in 33, I don't hear say no, because I think it will be a nice area with all of those amenities. And he didn't have those in front in there at first when he first started, the walking trails and the places to sit, because we want it to look on the outside, not like a warehouse, but like some place where you could just walk over and sit. I would even wonder if people from those other ones would come over and want to sit there. I am going to ask him if you all have, I'm going to be quiet in a few minutes and say if you have something else on there that you really want to say no, then I need to hear you. But other than that, I will ask him. I don't know if I'm going to ask him to come back again or if we're just going to send it out to you if you're in District 33 and on the database for emails, because I do want you to see what's going to go in the SP so that you'll know the things that you talked about that he said he was going to put down will get down. So anybody else comments? I'm going to run over for about 5 minutes. If anybody else has some comments or something they want to say, now is the time to say it, please. Okay, then. I am going to say, I hope you all have a great night. We're going to close this down now. And again, that I said at the beginning, if you weren't on there, if anybody has family or friends that are in Florida, I hope they get out safely. We had one of our neighbors that was on the call, had some family and friends that were lost over there, and then some got home safely, so that's good. Our prayers are with the folks there with all the craziness going on now. I have a colleague whose father was trying to get out of Russia, and then they couldn't find him. So there are a lot of different things that are happening in the world now. Not all good, not all good. So let's try to work together, pray for each other, watch your back when you go out someplace, try to be as safe as you can. And I really, truly just wish the best for everybody. Hope you all have a great night. Good night.
Thank
Thanks for
Thank you,
coming
Council
on.
Lady.
Thank you.
Bye, Tanya.
Bye. No, I was trying to leave meeting. How do you leave?